Hi everyone, it's Kiki. Thanks for joining me today. Today is September 10th, and I am going to school today. I didn't go on Thursday because I was feeling really dizzy from my dysautonomia, but I did my face, and I'm just wearing home clothes right now, and I will change before I leave. And I'm wearing home clothes because I'm cooking, and I don't want to wear like nice clothes while I'm cooking and then make a mess. I wanted to update you on how my long COVID is going and also some meal prep recipes that I'm doing. I guess we could just sort of just hang out. I made salsa chicken. I don't know. I just threw chicken in an Instapot and I put salsa on it and I cooked it and it's done. And I'm about to just take it out and then pull it apart. So let's see. I'm just gonna do this. Okay. So it looks like it's all cooked. Oops, ouch. So I cooked this in the Instapot on the chicken setting in salsa, and now I'm gonna tear it apart. Ooh, yum. Okay, so it's pretty tender. I'm making meal prep this week, and that is a celebration in itself because I haven't meal prepped since about last year due to the fact that I was so exhausted. I could barely do anything. I could only do the bare minimum, and that was barely, I was barely surviving. It was a struggle to do the dishes. And today is a special day because I wanted to update you guys on a treatment that I've been trying that has been working for me and why it's working and the differences I've noticed so far. August 15th, you know what, maybe I'll just come closer to you guys. I don't want to be so far away. I don't know if you can see it. Okay. I'm pulling it apart. Okay, so I'll move the salad spinner over. I just did all the dishes, so there's a whole bunch. I'll just put this over here. Okay, and then I can pull the chicken in front of you while I talk, and then I can show you after what it looks like. So August 15th was when I started my Guanfacine and NAC treatment. Almost immediately, the next day after, I was changed. And the biggest difference for me was I was able to have a conversation. I don't know if oh no. I don't know if you watched my other videos at all, but my communication skills are definitely a lot better. And of course, I have been practicing by speaking on camera. So there's that factor as well, but it doesn't hurt my head to do simple things. For example, I went to the beach and I sat with my friends prior to Guanfacine and NAC, and that was too overwhelming. I literally had to go away. I had to find a spot by myself and sit by myself and like close my eyes. I couldn't even return. That's how overwhelmed I was. I had what my friend said because he went through a big car accident. He had traumatic brain injury as well, and he had these migraines. Actually, I'm gonna tell him about that medication. It helped me, so I don't know. Maybe he'll go on it too. We'll see. He doesn't like medication either. We're all like anti-pharmaceutical. We're all very like, okay, we can fix it. We can heal. We'll do it right. We'll sleep. We'll eat well. We'll like reduce our stress. That is like our modus operandi because we I don't know. I guess we don't have a lot of good experiences or our intuition says don't do that. Anyway, so I went to the beach and I had to be by myself because just being around my friends speaking was overwhelming. Hearing music was overwhelming. Some people had like poi, you know, that stick game thing where you do this and you dance. I couldn't be around it. And usually I love watching them practice and I love like cheering them on. It's really exciting, but I couldn't do it. So I guess that's an example. Another example would be the lights would hurt my head way too much. Like just light. I'd have to turn all the light off in the house. I couldn't have any lighting, close my eyes, and that was too much still. It was just my eyes were so sensitive. And so after August 15th, I noticed I'm actually able. to talk to people, and I still do get overwhelmed, but my capacity to speak to people and to understand is bigger, and I can read now. So let me just read to you what I wrote. I can read and write now, and I read a study. And I want to let you know studies are quite dry, but scientific studies and papers are something that I'm quite literate in, and I have a lot of experience reading, and it's never a problem for me because I love information. As a scientist in me, I'm trying to look for incongruencies. So there was this study. I'm going to list it in the description box so that way you can refer to it as well. There's a lot of cool graphics on it. But the study that I read was about the NAC and Guanfacine on the effects on brain fog and how it helped some people. And so what I learned, I can tell you what I learned from this paper, is that here are the issues that arise in the brain after COVID. So this is what happens during long COVID. COVID-19 increases the inflammation and causes calcium dysregulation on the body. Once that inflammation is up, there is this thing called CAT2. I don't know exactly what it is. I didn't bother looking into it because when I was reading the study, I had to read it like 3 or 4 times. Usually, when I read something, I read 100% of it. I get 100% of it. I retain 100% of it. But I had to read it 3 or 4 times because there were things that I was missing, things that I wasn't understanding. And I was like, that's really strange. But I was able to read it 3 or 4 times as opposed to zero. Let's continue. So I was saying the COVID-19 increases the inflammation and calcium dysregulation on the body. Following that, the inflammation then increases this molecule called CAT2. And I'm not sure what it is, but CAT2 fits perfectly in the synapses. So the signals don't work in the brain. And synapses are types of brain cells that send signals, and that's how we think. Please correct me if I'm wrong in anything. I won't take offense. We're all learning together, so if I get it wrong, please write it down. So the signals don't work in your brain because the CAT2 is in that synapse. Because of the calcium dysregulation, we then get calcium overload in the body, and it overwhelms the mitochondria. And you know, the mitochondria, they're so important for so many functions. And instead of just being like single mitochondria by themselves, they like align themselves and they make this new formation called mitochondria on a string, MOAS. Oh, my hair is in the food. Oops. MOAS. And this shape, MOAS, is associated with Alzheimer's brains. They've seen this in the brains of the people who have Alzheimer's. So I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I feel like. I feel crazy. I feel like I have dementia or Alzheimer's. I can't even remember words. So that's what happened, what was happening to me. And then so when the mitochondria are on a string, it tells the microglia in the brain to remove the spikes and go into phagocytosis. So the microglia are immune system cells within the brain, and they have spikes, okay? And when the mitochondria are overloaded with the calcium, they're like, dear microglia, you need to remove those spikes. So they have no spikes, and then they change form and they go into phagocytosis, and phagocytosis is when they eat things. But with being in the brain, with phagocytosis, what they eat is the gray matter. And the gray matter is what is like where it eats, to me, is so wild. I don't know why doctors are not screaming this at the top of the hill. Like, okay, so gray matter is something in the brain that helps you with higher level thinking, such as like calculations, creativity, um, uh, so much. Like you just get reduced to like this primitive version of yourself, and which is what I was feeling. So let's continue. So we have the phagocytosis. Um, there is within the synapse this thing called the sodium potassium pump. So this is why we need electrolytes. Sodium potassium pump is like the opening and closing of the synapse. You know, synapse like accepts something, it goes through, and then it goes out. That's a sodium potassium pump. It's like involved in all of that. That pump cycle, which is what is required for the synapse to communicate with each other and their brains to communicate, that cycle, instead of being the regular pace it is now out of sync. It's the portion that's out of sync is the potassium part due to the calcium overload. And the potassium part is like we can equate that to like pooping of the body. So the pooping of the synapse is like more than usual. It's like having synapse diarrhea, I guess. So that is the issues that arise in the brain after COVID-19 infection, which is what was happening with me with long COVID. I'm not cured, okay? But I thought I would do one step at a time, and I addressed the brain first, because I love my brain. And now I'm going to address the whole body thing, which I will talk about after. So let's continue. So I was telling you, like, the potassium pump is like the diarrhea for the synapse. So the two things I'm taking, according to the study, that do help, I'm gonna say my doctor said you could just take Guanfacine because his patients just take Guanfacine and actually see uh in fact see like results. But I'm taking Guanfacine and NAC because the study just said that, and like later on when I'm feeling good enough, I'll take the NAC away, then I can see if it's like making a difference at all. But for now, I'm just doing both. I'm doing it by the paper so I can replicate the experiment, and then later on I'm gonna do my own experiment and take the NAC out. So what does NAC do? NAC, NAC, let me show you. N-acetylcysteine. It's a free-form amino acid. Okay. It was so weird. I couldn't find this in the States when I was there. Like I had to go to like a specialty store. We have this here in our pharmacy. Like this is easily available. A lot of things are easily available at our pharmacy here in Canada, but in the States you have to go to specialty stores. Um, so yeah, so the NAC combines with the CAT2 that I was telling you about. So CAT2 comes from the increased inflammation. So the cat2 that was floating around, it combines, the gnat combines with the cat2, so there's less of the cat2 floating around. And because there's less cat2 floating around, there's less that are impacting the neurons. Um, because the cat2 fits in the neurons. So then therefore, there's less overwhelm the mitochondria. So the great thing about NAC is that it combines with the cat2, reduces the going into the synapse. And because it's not in the synapse anymore, it's not bothering the mitochondria anymore as much. And because it's not bothering the mitochondria with inflammation, then it doesn't tell the microglia to eat the gray matter. So technically, NAC stops that cycle where the microglia are eating the gray matter. Okay, so there's that one cycle stopped. And what guanfacine does, guanfacine is a pharmaceutical medication that is normally used for traumatic brain injury, and so that's why I wasn't too afraid to take it. It also is used for like hypertension in higher doses, but I'm taking it like in micro doses, like 1 milligram as opposed to 40. So I was like, if they treat people with 40 and I'm only taking one, the risks of me taking it, I can try it for a week, and if I don't like it, I can stop. So that's what I did. And so guanfacine, it helps with that sodium potassium pump. I was telling you how like the potassium part is the portion that opens. So, the synapse is like opening way too much, or like pooping way too much. It actually it reduces the opening of the potassium portion, so it improves signaling between neurons because that portion of the cycle is being slowed down. And between the two of them, both NAC and guanfacine reduce neuroinflammation. And as you can tell, as you can see, if you watched the other video a few weeks ago where I was in Oregon, the way I was speaking, like my energy, the way I am, uh, just like my spirit, I feel like is so different. I haven't watched it yet, but I already know it's different because I was just having such a hard time. It was really scary. I actually thought, what is the point if I'm not going to get any better? Actually, I contemplated like, how am I going to reposition my life? How am I going to move forward from this? How am I going to find purpose again? What is my new role in life? All that stuff. But I feel like I am getting a little bit better. So there's that. I addressed the brain, I solved the brain, and so I'm taking those two things to ensure that the neuroinflammation is down. I'm also doing lifestyle changes. So I'm meal prepping, for example. I'm gonna put this back in the sauce because it'll be so yummy. I'm meal prepping, I'm eating really healthy. I'm reducing a lot of things that I'm doing. I am reducing the people that I'm seeing. I'm sleeping a lot. I'm walking. I'm running. All in the Oh, that looks so good. All in the goal of reducing stress and inflammation on my body. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to address the central nervous system, and I've already started reading some books. There are some somatic therapies I can do to calm the central nervous system down, and I'm going to start doing that. I've already started utilizing deep breathing and like herbalism. There are a lot of herbs that actually calm everything down. I've also looked into traditional Chinese medicine to try to balance things. There's so many things that I have looked into to try to help me on this journey because, you know, I'll take the resources I can get and then use as much as possible and then see if anything new comes out from the scientists. They're testing a bunch of new things all the time and they're discovering a whole bunch of things all the time. So I can try my best. So the next goal is I am going to work on turning off that switch with the central nervous system. I took a bath yesterday before bed. It was so good. I like stayed in the bath until I was really hot, and then I could feel my blood pumping, and I was sweating, and I was like, great, this I'm done with the bath, and now I'm going to take a cold shower. And we all know that cold exposure helps with the central nervous system. I think it's the parasympathetic. I'm not too sure. I'll just, if I'm wrong, let me know. But I did that, and I did sleep really well. I have been utilizing herbs like ashwagandha. I'm not saying you should do this, but this is what I'm doing. Ashwagandha, magnesium, omega-3, not 6, because we get a lot of 6 in our diet, apparently, according to the nutritionist. I'm going to share that with you. Try just omega-3. And I've been doing turmeric, bromelain, curcumin, quercetin, so many anti-inflammatories. And I noticed also CBD has been helping me a lot too. Uh, I was very surprised, but when I was at Burning Man and I had a really bad relapse, I thought, why did I even come to this event to relapse? The driving was so hard. What was the point of that? I ate CBD. I only just the CBD, zero THC, just the CBD, which has the pharmaceutical properties without the psychoactive properties. And within a few hours, I was starting to pull everything together. So I felt more like if I had a breadboard and everything was attached to the breadboard, I felt like all the wires were taken away and everything was like haphazardly put back in and sort of dysfunctioning. But then after taking the CBD, after a few hours, it was like somebody came along and fixed that breadboard and I was functioning a little bit better. And over time, as I was taking that CBD every day, I actually I reached homeostasis. So anyways, I'm gonna eat one right now. Speaking of CBD, I'm in Canada and um, I just get whatever is at the government cannabis shop. And I've been trying a whole bunch, but I found 30 milligrams of THC with 30 milligrams of CBD, zero THC has been helping me. So that's what I wanted to share with you is how I'm healing my long COVID, what has been working. I'm sorry, this is annoying. My long COVID progress, what I learned about that study, and what I'm gonna do next. So hopefully you found that helpful. And I'm just gonna finish my meal prepping so that way I can leave, and I have to leave around like 11:30 so I can make it to school time. I'm gonna change as well. And I'll take a picture of my outfit. I'll show you guys after. I can't wait to do like my fall capsule wardrobe to show you guys. I have I don't have a lot of space for clothes. My partner and I, we share one dresser. I have three pull-out sets for me, and then we have some underbed storage, and then a closet. The closet literally is meant for one person, but we split that, and that's all I have for clothes. And I'm sort of like to express myself through my clothes and makeup, but that's just not the reality for me right now, and that's okay. So I gotta make best with what I have and really strategize the space that I have in my closet through capsule wardrobes and wardrobe planning and whatnot. If I could, I probably would have a massive wardrobe for all the costumes and jewelry and bags and shoes that I would like to have, but I don't have that now. Once I get over this long COVID, I'll be able to focus more on my school. And I don't know if you guys know, I'm doing my bachelor's in science and physics. So that's why this long COVID thing was such a big shock to me when I couldn't do basic arithmetic. I'm like a high level calculus mathlete, theoretical physics person. I'm also doing scientist astronaut training. So for me to have my hobby, like on my rest day, my hobby would be to read about space technology and, space biophysiology. That was like my hobby, and like looking at planes and things like that, and like plane kits and dreaming about aerospace and aviation. That was my resting. And so my brain was really revving high, and I had to throttle down because the system wasn't working. But I think what this long COVID is teaching me is that I do need to slow down. I need to take care of myself better, more self-care, because the body, mind, we're all connected here, but I think I've been neglecting a portion of me. So I'm gonna do that more, because I have dysautonomia and POTS as well. I'm gonna go slower. I should speak slower. I'm like way too excited. I mean, I'm not too excited. I can be excited. I'm just speaking too fast, which increases the heart rate. Let's take a look. The heart rate is at 94. Yeah, I'm excited. So I have to take care of myself. Another thing I learned is nothing is forever, nothing is permanent. Everything can change. Everything is in a state of flux and is pretty much temporary. I was in good health for a long time and now I'm not. But also at the same time, I'm not going to be in bad health forever because I'm working towards changing that. I thought I was going to have my grandma, who was my primary caregiver, my mom. I thought I was going to have her forever. She's not here. So, yeah, things do change and I'm just coming to terms with it, and that is a neutral thing. There's no good or no bad. It's just what perspective we put on the thing. It's just is, and our emotions. Yeah, it just is. I'm looking forward to my next video, and thanks for joining me. I'll add some pictures as to what the meal prep looks like. I'm gonna do another one. So I did the chicken. I'm gonna put it in a container to show you. So this is the salsa chicken, and I'm gonna add some, I guess, salsa fajita chicken. I'm gonna cut up some bell peppers after and add rice the day of. I usually like to add rice fresh. I'll make it the night before, and then before I leave, I'll add it, and then I'll bring it to school. So I'm gonna do that, and then the next thing I'm gonna do is chicken breast with broccoli and potatoes, but it's gonna be Parmesan garlic flavored. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out. Love you guys. Check out these boots. Love them. Yeah. And I made this bed.